Welcome everybody to another episode of Enclosed Cosmology. This one is episode 23 and it's labeled Promise. Super excited to get in here, and we got the OGs all at the round table, starting out talking about Joshua. So super stoked for that. But before we get into that, as always, we'll go ahead and let the panel, all the people at the round table, introduce themselves. Throw it off to my main man, Anthony Dickinson. How are you doing? Shabbat shalom, brother.
Sorry, I forgot how to unmute my mic. Shabbat shalom, everybody. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you're here as well. How you doing there, dear brother Darrell Lee?
Oh, doing good. Thank you. It's good to be here. Shabbat shalom, everybody. And let's get to it.
Yeah, I'm excited. And we got Frankie B here as well. How you doing this Shabbat there, dear sir?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
Yep, you sound great.
Okay, yeah. Got a new acoustic, putting new strings on it. I like to string up during the show.
Nice.
String guy. I hope everybody had a great Shabbat. Me and Nick jammed. We had a good time. I hope everybody has a great barbecue weekend and just enjoys fellowship with the family. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I guess before we get into it, we'll kind of do a little housekeeping. I just want to remind everyone that we're still trying to get closer to that goal. We're obviously super thankful for those that have donated already to the GoFundMe. But we're still trying to get higher to that goal. So maybe you weren't able to help before, but maybe you're able to help now. It'd be super helpful. This is all into regards to Anthony's deal with his local, law enforcement and all that jazz, and his current situation. So we're trying to get him enough to get a retainer. We're almost, we're over a third of the way there. So those that can help out, we would love that. If you can't, don't feel obligated to in any way. So other than shouting that out real quick, I do want to remind y'all that we are at 484. So we're only 16 away from hitting that 500 goal, and still looking like it's going to be the shofar. But make sure, if you haven't, that you go to the Take on the World, you go to the community page, and then if you look, we have this poll. So you can go ahead and vote on this poll, and then that will give you your decision. It looks like right now it's at 49% the shofar. So we're going to be giving out a nice high quality shofar when we hit that 500 mark, and then we'll think up something awesome as well for that 1,000 mark. So we do appreciate all those who do subscribe, all those that leave comments. They really do help us grow and hit those goals and share those puzzle pieces. So we definitely appreciate that. And then, of course, if you haven't heard of Take on the World, go and subscribe to them. They allow us to also multi-stream on their channel and use their platform to share our puzzle pieces. So make sure you always give them love, and they have great content throughout the week. So they're definitely worth checking out. We'll kind of... that's it that I want to share for now. We'll get into the comments and stuff at the end of the stream, but let's go ahead and move on. So pull this back up. Boom. Okay. So so what I have the stream named is Promise. So and if anyone checked out the description of that of this video, it kind of will give a good indication of what we're talking about. So it says, welcome to the 23rd episode of Enclosed Cosmology Fellowship Roundtable. Join us as we start down the warpath with Joshua as he conquers the land that was given to the Commonwealth of Israel. From the blessing to the walls, to all the bricks crumble and fall. HalleluYAH YA 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 YA. I thought that was clever if anyone got that. But anyways, so what were you gonna say?
I said I like that.
So yeah, I guess if there's not any other housekeeping or things that other people want to mention, we can just get into the episode. Anyone got anything?
Who wrote that? You?
Yeah.
All right, we'll sign you up as a lyricist for the band.
As long as it's parody songs.
Yeah, I can do a few parodies.
No, literally, when I was growing up, like, my dad would always sing songs with the incorrect lyrics. You know, sometimes vulgar, sometimes not, but I do that to this day.
Yeah, that must be a generational thing, because I do it too. I'm in my 50s. Your dad would have been, what, in his 60s?
He would have been 67 this year.
Yeah, that must be a generational thing, because me and my friends, we do the same thing. I do it at work all the time.
Nice. Awesome. And then I guess I think that's it. So yeah, let's go ahead. I did pull up a few scriptures that I want to talk real quick. We're gonna kind of jump back a little bit because on our last one, you know, we were talking about Moses, but because we're talking about Joshua, I think it's fair to kind of skip back, even though, you know, Moses is now alive, because at this point, you know, we're really going to start focusing on after the crossing of the Jordan. But we want to kind of see with that crossing of the Jordan, what I really think that is really cool about that is all the people that were coming. I feel like their hearts were right, and it took that 40 years to get that whole group of people to have the right heart to walk in, to cross over a threshold, you know, the Jordan River, into something that is quite remarkable. You know, like in war, and the odds that they were up against, and the peoples that they were up against, and the miracles that we'll see, I believe came from obviously the Father, but because the Father was showing up even more because this group of people that was crossing the Jordan were ready to hear him. And of course, there's always, you know, I'm not saying it's 100%. There was no, you know, hesitation among them, but I just think that for the most part, that group of people were ready to take on what they were about to do, and we see that, right? And we'll get into that. So. But I want to start a little bit before that, and this is dealing with while Moses is still alive. So we're in Deuteronomy 31. We're just going to start it at the top, and it says, "And Moses went and spake these words unto all Israel. And he said unto them, I am 120 years old this day. I can no more go out and come in. Also, the Lord hath said unto me, Thou shalt not go over this Jordan. The Lord thy God will go over before thee, and will destroy these nations before thee, and thou shalt possess them. And Joshua, he shall go over before thee, as the Lord hath said. And the Lord shall go unto them as he did to Sihon and to Og, king of the Amorites, and unto the land of them who he destroyed. And the Lord shall give them up before your face, that ye may do unto them accordingly unto all the commandments which I have commanded you. Be strong and of good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord thy God, he it is that doth go with thee. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. And Moses called unto Joshua, and said unto him in the sight of all Israel, Be strong and of good courage. For thou must go with this people unto the land which the Lord hath sworn unto the fathers to give them, and thou shalt cause them to inherit it. And the Lord, he it is that doth go before thee, he be with thee. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. Fear not, neither be dismayed. And so I want to kind of take a little break there and just see how Moses has fulfilled his role in shepherding and being this high priest for these people, and he is giving over that role to Joshua. And what I think is really interesting is, Yeshua, Joshua, that name, and the fact that we're seeing one who comes that just lay waste to his enemy. And again, we'll get into that as we see those. But you see this blessing be put upon Joshua, and what that means not only for him, but what it also means for Israel, the group of people. And I just think that's really interesting how it kind of lays that out. Y'all have any thoughts?
I think that was a very good transition into Joshua. But I probably won't have anything really until we get into Joshua.
Totally. And I do have one more. I got this 34. So let me pull this up. Oh, okay. Here in 9. We'll go to 7. It says, "And Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eye was not dim, nor his nature forced abate. And the children of Israel wept for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days. So the days of weeping and mourning for Moses were ended. And Joshua the son of Nun was full of spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hands upon him. And the children of Israel hearkened unto him, and did as the Lord commanded Moses." So we're setting up. We got this guy who has his heart on fire, where he is full of that spirit of wisdom, and he was given that priesthood by Moses. And Israel's like, "Yep, we're listening to Joshua," and they did what what the Lord had commanded Moses to do. Like, that hypes me up so much. What about y'all?
Oh yeah, same here. I like the fact that Moses was 120 years old and he still had the strength to climb a mountain. I mean, he wasn't weak when he died.
It's like his days were fulfilled, and then he just was gone. But yeah, it's so awesome, and I just wanted to share with those to kind of this is the man we're talking about, and who's going to do all of these great things. And I think it's really important to mention that it says, again, I'm going to pull it back up in 31, and it says, "And the Lord shall give them up before your face, that ye may do unto them accordingly unto all the commandments which I have commanded you." So they're taking these commandments and they are fulfilling them. They're doing them, and I literally believe that how we have kind of talked before, that doing things physically can have a spiritual manifestation, right? Like a negative or a positive one. And then doing things spiritually, like how you feel in the spirit, and then those things can cause, obviously, for you to do things in the physical. And so how they're kind of give and take when it comes to that. And so here, I think this is we're going to get into a great example of what happens, what is possible for a people that are following the Father in his words. So I just kind of wanted to bring that up, but I can drop these two, and we can get into Joshua 1. Did anyone have anything before we do?
Yeah, a little bit. I'd like to bring up the point where, yes, they carried the commandments with them and they kept the commandments, but that doesn't mean that their life is going to be hunky dory. It means, they're doing things right, but it's a scary path. The evil is going to definitely come against you when you start doing right. It's definitely going to, but fear not. I mean,
that's the point, right? Because I'm not disagreeing with you like that. This just means it's all honky dory. I'm saying that finally Yah had a group of people that would endure to the end. If he would have took the people straight over the Red Sea and took them into those lands, they would not have succeeded. God had to cultivate those people for 40 years to get them to a place where they would be able to take on these hardships and these fears and overcome them.
Right. And also, because of those adversities and those supposed fears, it strengthened their heart. That particular generation, of course they saw the Egyptians get defeated, and they saw the parting of the Red Sea, and now they're fixing to see the parting of the Jordan, and they're fixing to go into the Promised Land, but it's not going to be all peaches and cream to them. They got to take the land. So anyway, yeah, I'm interested in getting into it, brother.
All right, yeah, let's do that. So pull it up, Joshua 1. I'll share it with the viewers. And so let's get into it. So Joshua 1. Now, after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spake unto Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise and go over this Jordan, thou and all this people, unto the land which I do give to them, even to the children of Israel. Every place that sole of your foot shall tread upon, that shall I give unto you, as I said unto Moses. For the wilderness and this Lebanon, even unto the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and unto the great sea towards going down on the sun, shall be your coast. There shall not be any man be able to stand before thee all the days of the life, as I was with Moses. So I will be with thee, and I will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. Be strong and of a good courage, for unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land which I shall swear unto thy fathers to give to them. Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that they may prosper whithersoever thou goest. This book of law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou may observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. Have I not commanded thee? Be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed. For the Lord thy God is with thee wherever thou goest. Then Joshua commanded the officers of the people, saying, Pass through the hosts, and command the people, saying, Prepare your victuals, for there within 3 days ye shall pass over this Jordan, to go in to possess the land, which the Lord your God giveth you to possess it. And to the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to the half the tribe of Manasseh, spake Joshua, saying, Remember that the word Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, saying, The Lord your God hath given you rest, and hath given you this land. Your wives, your little ones, and your cattle shall remain in the land which Moses gave you on this side Jordan. But ye shall pass before your brethren armed, all the mighty men of valor, and help them, until the Lord have given you, brethren, rest, and ye have given you, and they also have possessed the land which the Lord your God giveth them. Then ye shall return unto the land of your possession, and enjoy it, which Moses the Lord's servant gave you on this side of the Jordan, the sun rising. And then Joshua and they answered Joshua, saying, all that thou commandest us we will do, and whatsoever thou send us we will go. According as we hearken unto Moses in all these things, so will we hearken unto thee. Only the Lord thy God be with thee as he was with Moses. Whosoever he be that doth rebel against thy commandment, and will not hearken unto thy words in all that thou commandest him, he shall be put to death. Only be strong and of good courage. So very beautiful there. All these promises and you know, over and over the Father's given us is given us encouragement to say, like, you know, don't be afraid, you know, be of good courage, because, you know, and these people are like, yep, whatever, you know, we understand that Moses gave you the high priestship. So whatever you do, whatever you say, we're going to do it as long as you are for the Lord. And we're going to see what kind of comes from that. But any thoughts?
Yeah, that's a great portion of scripture. I mean, I have preached from that Joshua 1:8 so many times because it's such a powerful, encouraging word that if we just follow in his ways and we hearken unto his voice, that he will lead us into victory every single time. It's just a strong, encouraging word, even for the day we're living in now. To be strong and courageous and know that God is for you, not against you. That he's your strong buckler. He's your great defense. We abide in the shadow of his wings. And then the fulfillment of that with Yeshua, how he said, if we abide in him, he abides in us, and that we are of the true vine, then we are a branch that bears fruit. I mean, it's just such a beautiful, beautiful portion of scripture. It is literally a battle cry for victory. That no matter what the enemy throws at you, Yah's got your back.
And not only that, but he also says, remember, I'm going to be there right with you. And he shows up multiple times. Like, we'll obviously get into that as we start seeing these battles, but we'll obviously see these things that are, you know, scientifically, physically impossible, but no, regardless, are 100% true. You know what I mean? It was supernatural. It was obviously the Father showing up to make these things happen.
Well, that's the beauty of it, that he'll always be with us. He'll always lead us and guide us. He'll always show us a path to victory, as long as we submit to him as Father and we engage with him. I mean, if we don't engage with him, then he can't tell us how to win the battle. I mean, if we try to do it in our own strength, I mean, what can he do? You know what I mean? There has to be a certain submission on our part to let him show us the path to victory.
Right, and that would be keeping his commandments, statutes, and judgments, right?
I think it's more than that. I think it's listening to his voice too. I mean,
totally, but
right living is part of it, but he has an audible voice that he speaks to us every day. If you engage with him, he'll give you answers. He'll show you direction. He'll show you the best way to victory. You know what I mean?
I kind of feel like he would show us the only way to victory, but in order to for him to even want to take the time to talk with you is if we allow him to, basically. You know, we can't just turn a deaf ear to it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Yeah, if we have to submit to him.
Mm-hmm.
We have to ask for his guidance. He's a gentleman. He's not going to just intercede if we don't engage with him. He wants a relationship.
Right. And that was
It's a child. When a child comes to a father for advice, that father is so proud, and especially a child in their teens or in their 20s or in their older age, asking their father for wisdom. It's such an honor for that father to say, "Hey, well, this is how I look at the situation, and your best path for victory would be this, this, and this." You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, it tells us straightforward. In order for us to submit to him, we have to keep his commandments, statutes, and judgments.
And I agree with that, but I also kind of agree with Frankie in the essence that, and I think why these people are different is because the people crossing the Red Sea, like they were outwardly doing the commandments like as Moses was showing, but it wasn't really in their heart, because as soon as Moses was not there, then all of a sudden, they started doing what they wanted to do before. So even though they were quote unquote keeping the law, their heart wasn't keeping the law. They weren't, their heart wasn't circumcised. They still lusted and desired to do that otherworldly stuff. And I agree that it is something that we all struggle with. That is why, he tells us, to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. But I obviously think that it's as Anthony is saying, it is making it very clear to see, like 1-8 is encouraging of Joshua 1, but if you keep reading, it's saying like y'all are going to be able to do this because y'all keep all the commandments. He's telling them this isn't just a freebie. They're just gonna go there and win. They're gonna go in there and win if they listen to him. And again, we'll see as we get more into Joshua what happens when they don't listen to the Father and do their own thing, and what that causes, people in their lives. So now, as kind of we are in cosmology, we're not gonna literally read every single chapter, every single book. We encourage y'all to do that. And I know that I'm reading the King James Version, and in my opinion, if not everything, it's probably everything that has been grabbled to some degree. So what I would always suggest is to read other things. I like the language of the King James Version. I like that old English type of style.
It's the best grabbled version we have.
Yeah, totally. In my opinion, in other people's opinion, not everyone's opinion. But a thing that we've always kind of said here in Closed Cosmology is this is about iron sharpening iron. That requires heat, friction, and the removal of material. So we all have to be willing to hear other pieces of the puzzle, and even if that brings friction and heat, if the Father leads us to, we need to be able to, remove that material from our lives. So, and as iron sharpens iron, men sharpen men. So,
hey, Daryl. Hey, Daryl, you remember the show Father Knows Best? It kind of rings true. Father does know best.
That kind of sounds familiar. I don't remember it though.
Yeah, it came out in like the 50s. It was on reruns when I was growing.
How old do you think I am?
You're just a couple years younger than me.
Or did you just gray early?
I watched a lot of TV when I was growing up.
Okay. 50s, huh? Wow.
Yeah, Father Knows Best. I forget who was in it. It was, it was like the Beaver. I think it might have been the Beaver.
Might have been the Beaver. Huh?
That might have been that. That might have been the name of the show where the Beaver was the character that everybody remembered.
Yeah. Wasn't it Leave It to Beaver?
Yeah, that was Leave It. Yeah, that's right. You're right. That was Leave It to Beaver. Father Knows Best was a good show, but it does ring true though. I mean, Father does know best. He knows the best ways for us to live.
That's not the one that had that song that went like, "Let me tell you about my best friend." Ba-da-da.
That was the courtship of Eddie's father. Yeah, that was Bill Bixby's first TV show.
Oh,
Remember he was
okay.
the Hawk?
Nice. Okay,
Yeah,
we're
that's
kind of
right.
getting way off into way off
Sorry, yeah,
topics.
sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah,
So we can leave that more to the end. But what was I gonna say? So now I said that before, that we're not gonna read every line of scripture. Of course, you should go do that by yourself and read multiple, different interpretations. Look into the Hebrew, look into the Greek. That's all part of working out your salvation with fear and trembling. That's all about having your heart after the Father's heart. So that being said, I wanted to skip to now. I say this, but Anthony, if you have something before this that we want to bring up, we totally can. But I was gonna kind of jump to the walls of Jericho, unless you had something, which is Joshua 6. Did you have something kind of before that you wanted to talk about?
I know I'm good. I just want to point out that the way they was basically marching through this land is, like you were saying, is because they kept the commandments and statutes and judgments of Yahweh, and they, just like it verse 8 says, is it 8?
You're talking about Joshua 1:8?
I think it was Joshua 1. It was, yeah, that's it. It says this book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall, check it out, meditate on it day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. But I just want to kind of alliterate that's how I try to live my life as well. I try to keep the commandments on my mind everywhere I go. It's all I can seem to talk about. It seems it's not really, but it's everything I see and everywhere I go. It's always on my mind, and I can sort of put myself in the shoes of these Israelites when they went into across the Jordan here. As long as they followed His commandments, Yahweh worked miracles in front of them.
And I don't think, and this is, I kind of want to talk about, I totally agree with you, but I personally don't think this is written for just them. I think this is speaking to everyone. If everyone shall do what 8 says, that this book shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate it therein day and night, that thou shalt observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. He's giving you exactly, this is how you get success. And I don't think he's just talking to Joshua and the people. I think he's talking to all of those that want to go, that want to cross the proverbial, like I think they really did, but metaphorically, I think we can all choose to cross that, that proverbial Jordan and start waging war in our lives with our sin, with the world as it is. Like, we see evil, we try to do something. We see, people who are homeless or orphans or widows, we help them. We uplift them. And all of those things, obviously, if you step back and kind of just think about it logistically, if the very lowest of the people in a society are being lifted up, then that lifts everyone up. Because that widow, let's say, saying she goes on to get married and has a child, and then that child has a better successful life because of the way that her life went. And obviously that cascades forever and ever, and we see that in in the Ten Commandments, how specifically talking about people worshiping graven images and people that do that for 4 generations, those people will hate the Father. So we see the consequences. We've seen the consequences then of what happens when you don't practice what the Father is asking to do, to observe the behavior that the Father is asking us to observe.
We get a spanking, don't we?
Yeah.
Proverbial spanking.
Yeah, in life we totally see it all the time. All right, so I guess since we kind of rounded that out, we can go back to Joshua 6, and we're gonna give some time to Jericho. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this, and then I'd really like to talk about it. So Joshua 6. Now Jericho was seriously shut up because of the children of Israel. Now none went out and none came in. And the Lord said unto Joshua, See, I have given unto thine hand Jericho, and the king therein, and the mighty men of valor. And ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go around about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns, shofar, and the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priest shall blow with the trumpets. And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when ye shall sound the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat. And the people shall ascend up every man straight before him. And Joshua the son of Nun called the priests and said unto them, Take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord. And he said unto them, Pass on and compass the city, and let him that is armed pass on before the ark of the Lord. And it came to pass, when Joshua had spoken unto the people, that the 7 priests bearing the 7 trumpets of ram's horns passed on before the Lord, and blew with their trumpets. And the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them. And the armed men went before the priests that blew the trumpets, and they reward came after the ark, the priests going forward and blowing the trumpets. And Joshua had commanded the people, saying, Ye shall not shout, nor make any noise with your voice. Neither shall any word proceed out of your mouth, until the day I bid you shout. Then shall ye shout. So the ark of the Lord compassed the city, going about it once, and they came into the camp and lodged in the camp. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of the Lord. And the 7 priests, bearing 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord, went on continually and blew the trumpets, and the armed men went before them, but the reward came after the ark of the Lord, and the priests going on and blowing with the trumpets. And the 2nd day they compassed the city and returned to the camp, so they did 6 days. And it came to pass on the 7th day that they rose early about the dawning of the day, and compassed the city after the same manner 7 times. Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times. And it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priests blew the trumpets, Joshua said unto the people, Shout, for the Lord hath given you the city. And the city shall be accursed, even it, and all that therein, to the Lord. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are within her house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. And ye in any wise kept yourselves from the accursed thing, lest ye make yourselves accursed when ye take of the accursed thing, and make the camp of Israel a curse and trouble it. But all the silver and gold and vessels of brass and iron, and consecrate unto the Lord, they shall come into the treasury of the Lord. So the people shouted when the priests blew the trumpets, and it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city. And they utterly destroyed all that was in the city, both man and woman, young and old, and ox and sheep and ass, with the edge of the sword. But Joshua had said unto them, the two men that had spied out the country, go into the harlot's house, and bring out thence the woman, and all that she hath, and ye shall swear unto her. And the young men that were spies went in, and brought out a Rahab, and her father, and her mother, and her brethren, and all that she had. And they brought out all her kindred, and left them without the camp of Israel. And they burnt the city with fire, and all that was therein. Only the silver and the gold, and the vessels of brass and of iron, they put into the treasury of the house of the Lord. And Joshua said, Rahab the harlot alive, and her father's household, and all that she had, and she dwelleth in Israel even unto this day, because she hid the messengers which Joshua sent to spy out Jericho. And Joshua adjourned them at that time, saying, Cursed be the man before the Lord that rises up and buildeth this city Jericho. He shall lay the foundation thereof in this firstborn, and in the youngest son shall he set up the gates of it. So the Lord was with Joshua, and his fame was noised throughout all of the country. Oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about in this one scripture. And I know, again, we skipped, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we don't really have the context of, who this harlot is. But I do want to talk about her in a little bit. But before I get into that and some other points, do y'all have anything that is burning your brain that y'all would like to talk about, discuss about what I just read? Okay, not everyone talk at once.
I've got a lot to talk about. I hope if somebody else would speak up.
Well, if they want to add on, they can, but you got something, so go, brother.
Yeah, I don't remember where I read it, but isn't the shofar, isn't it referred to as like the sound of the voice of God or something, like somewhere like that?
I think what it is, I kind of have a vague recollection of that. I thought that the sound that the shofar made is like the same word as the breath of God. But I may be off on that. I may be off on that. Don't quote me on that.
That may be what I read there too. Oh, but yeah. Anyway, which either way, whether it's the breath of God or the sound of God's voice, it brought these walls of Jericho down, and it seems like I read somewhere how big and tall they were, and they were enormous. But I don't remember where I read that.
And something to kind of point out about the shouting is Joshua straight up said, don't make any noise. Don't let any word come from your mouth. Do not shout. You will not say a single thing until when I tell you to shout. And they didn't hear Joshua say that and say, well, he's metaphorically saying don't shout. No, they're saying to don't shout. I'm not going to shout. And they abide him. They listen to him. And the outcome of their obedience is they literally get, as it's kind of described in history, and there's different takes on it, but what I saw is that it was a very well fortified city. They couldn't have made war against it any other way that would have really made sense for the odds and in the setup and the whole thing. So the fact that the walls came down, and the fact that the people within those walls were watching this event happen. They were seeing this event happen over the 6 days and seeing it happen 7 times on the 7th day. and it says they hear the trumpets and they hear the shout, and then the walls come down. They are fully aware of the, ABC, the events leading up to, oh my gosh, our city is falling literally into part. The walls crumble, everything falls apart. And I think just we see that. I just one other second, and so they saw that stuff, and the ego that they had in their heart, like, what is that gonna do? What could that possibly do to me? Well, these people are also a good representation of sin. Now, I think they're real people and these events really happen, but I think there's also spiritual meaning. And I think the spiritual meaning of these people is you see the ego of them sitting behind their walls. They don't go out. They've heard stories. They've seen the army. They're scared to go out, but they have the hubris to sit behind their walls and say, well, there's nothing that they can do to us. And we see, again, like I was saying, the Lord show up. They did what the Father commanded them to do through the high priest of Joshua. And from Joshua, their obedience unto hearkening unto his voice and being silent and doing what commanded, what was again commanded from the Lord. And they, guys, that's insane that a whole city would just, and he's literally, they're encompassed, right? So he's like, literally, all of y'all just run straight. So if y'all all run straight, y'all will literally have the whole thing. And they do. It's mind blowing. I love it so much. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting story.
Well, it's just another example of God, of Yah giving us the victory, and how great his compassion and love is that he would, give us the victory in every battle that we go through here in this realm. And there's these are examples of men living by faith, like Hebrews said. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And then it just lists all of a certain amount of the examples of how Abraham got the victory, Moses got the victory. It's just another example of Isaac, of Yah giving us the victory. It's wonderful.
And I also wanted to pull out, again, we didn't read the context of it, but the harlot. Now, not only, so she was a harlot, I kind of have some interesting thoughts about this, but also some questions. So, even though she was a harlot, which is not, within Torah, right? It's not within the instructions of the Father. Obviously, it's contrary. She abided in the victory of the people, right? Because they had those spies. She protected those spies. So one, and we haven't really got into it, and we'll get into it even more. But we know that these people that they're up against, at least in my opinion, most of them, if not all of them, are not straight up humans. There's something different about them, and that's at least my take. I don't know about y'all, but that being said, I think that it's interesting that she joins Israel, and it says that she lives with them to this day. So she was, I wonder if she was maybe, if the issue or kind of a difference here is kind of genetics, where it's like something's different about them, but she's 100% human, so that was one reason why. Or even if it wasn't that, like even if there was still from her, by accepting those spies and helping the spies, she was actually like basically within darkness and trying to escape into the light, and she was able to do that through the spies. And when she saw that light, she couldn't get enough of it, so she was willing to risk her, not only her life, but obviously the entire life of her family, hoping that these men that she saw, that light that she saw in them, was different and set apart than what she had experienced thus far in her life. And obviously Joshua, the father, Joshua, the people show up and are that exact example of the light of the people to this woman, in so much that it seemingly she is accepted into the tribe, and like is a part of it. So I just think that that's a really beautiful kind of addition there.
Yeah, she came out of her own Babylon, huh?
Yeah, she was Sodom, Lot coming out of Sodom.
Exactly.
So he always gives that chance for that one person. Like he would rather, none come to destruction, and so where there's an opportunity to bring a sheep into the fold, he's gonna do it every time. And just think about this. So this is like kind of the interesting thought: is the Father's so mighty, he's willing to get his people to destroy a whole people to save one family.
Hey, can I ask a question? Is her descendants the ones that married the king that fought Elijah in the Book of Kings? I forget the king's name in the Book of Kings when Elijah went against the servants of Baal, and the wife of the king told the king to have his army hunt down Elijah. Could it be that they are the descendants of Rahab?
I actually have never looked into that. I've never looked into that. That would be a kind of an interesting thing. And if that's the case, like, I always think with people, there's an ebb and flow, right? Like we saw, at least, again, they kind of jump back to like Ishmael, right? Like we saw that he kind of did the right thing, but he also went on his own path. And that had to do with, his upbringing, but which had to do with the fact that Abraham tried to figure out his way instead of, being obedient to the father and waiting for the father to show up. But yeah, just some thoughts.
He loved his son Ishmael, so he spared his son Ishmael, and that became a great opposition against Israel later in time, right?
Yeah, totally. And the father shows up there too, right? So
right.
So it's even the father uses instruments of evil for his own will, right? And so I think that those are kind of beautiful, because it's the same way, right? Even if you have a nation rise like that, like the nation that rose from Ishmael, you have people like the harlot here in Jericho that will come out of that desire to come out of the darkness and live in the light, or come out of deception and live in truth. So he shows up either way. Like if you're on the opposite, okay, so if you're in the darkness, if you're live in an evil country or an evil nation or tribe, and you want to come out into light, well then the people that are in light, that are living that, are people like Joshua, who like we said, God shows up for it. There's nothing he can't do. He just needs to be, you know, of good courage and to endure to the end, and to be faithful to all the laws and commandments that the Father gave him, and he will succeed. And we see this. Like, I don't know. Like, I think a lot of people pass over the walls of Jericho so much, but I think they are literally, it's mind blowing, all the like the physical actions, the physical things that happen, and then how that also like spiritually ties into all our struggles, not only against ourselves but against this world that we live in. So I know I'm ranting at this point, but those are my thoughts about Joshua 6. So I think I interrupted you before, Anthony. I want to hear what you were wanted to talk about.
You didn't interrupt me. But speaking of the walls of Jericho, you know, we have proverbial walls in our life all the time. You know, there's always some sort of stumbling block just waiting to trip us up every which way we turn. And I feel like if we do just put our trust in Yahuwah and follow him, he'll show us these stumbling blocks, and we could just walk around them, step over them, blow a trumpet, and bring it to the ground.
It's a good point.
I wonder if like that's a thing we. I'm sorry. I just want to say I wonder if that's a thing that we could actually do. Like if we reproduced that same thing. Oh, I guess we can't because we don't have the Ark of the Covenant. Anyways, what were you gonna say? Whoever I interrupted before.
Yeah, I wanted to say there was more to just blowing the trumpet. They were also commanded to be silent, and there's other places where we're told to be silent. You know, we're be told to be still and know that I am. You know, so having that trust. You know, we got to. A lot of times we'll run out and think we got to do this or that. You know, but we can't do it on our own. You know, we got to know sometimes when we got to be still and just trust, you know, because that was part of the walls coming down, was they had to be quiet for a long time, and then at a certain time they were to make all the noise, you know, blow the trumpets and shofars and all.
Well,
right?
like Austin told us, there's a lot of power in frequencies. So, like what Anthony was saying, there could be some truth in the blowing the shofar as a sign of victory to let this realm know that we're standing with Father. And and you're right, Daryl. There's also times that we need to be silent so that we can hear the voice of the Father too. It's just knowing the love of the Father and being in relationship with him to know what direction we need to go. Because there is sometimes we just need to shut our mind up, and just be still before him and stand in faith before him and know that he is in control of whatever we give him. But the key is we have to give him our struggles. If we don't give him our struggles, he can't intercede for us. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he literally had to lock me down, hold me down, and say, "Look here, this is which way I want you to go," because I wouldn't listen. You know, I try to think too much, or try to do it my way, or something like that. So he literally had to hold me down and say, "Look, do this."
And at that point, don't you think it was easier to do that because the Bible was a lot more not literal to you?
Actually, it seemed to make the Bible more literal.
No, I agree. When you start taking it literal, I'm saying like before when like for instance, before when you know believed in a globe, like Genesis 1, you kind of had to do some mental gymnastics to make that make sense, right? But then once you like, okay, wait, it is what I thought of as a child, like, and I feel like we all thought that, like, I totally got into believing in the globe, you know, like head over heels. Um, as a child, I do remember being very confused why they couldn't explain to me why why we were spinning, but I couldn't feel it, and like I could never get over that. Right?
I
I could never get over that as a child, but I kind of suppressed that until later on, uh, and was like, oh wow, it was right as a child. I did not feel moving because I'm not moving.
Right, and I agree with you. I didn't understand what you was asking, but yeah, it did all come to me when I started taking scripture as literal, unless it says otherwise. Like, behold a parable, or if they use similes like the word like. Uh, that's when I start looking at, should I take this literal or should I take it metaphorically? And I want to thank the late great Rob Skiba for showing me that. Uh, how we can actually read scripture as literal unless it states otherwise. He taught me a lot when it came to that.
So
It's so weird saying the late great Rob Ski because I think he was our age, right, Anthony? Or
He was he was 10 years older than me.
how old was he? 55, right? 56.
No, I think he was 54.
Yeah, yeah, he's right in my ballpark. I'm 56, so yeah, he was a couple years younger than me. That's sobering.
yeah, it's crazy, but I very much wonder about that, you know, because it, it things don't add up on like the way that everything happened, and specifically I'm talking about him being in the hospital and them taking the steps, and then him passing away from what he supposedly, it doesn't make any sense, but I'm sorry, I don't really want to bring that up. It just like every time I think about him, I think about that, and it just makes me feel so bad. You know, like
What was weird about it is I was sitting 10 feet away from him. 1 minute he's perfectly fine. He's getting ready for a presentation. A minute later, he's done got sick. It happened almost instantaneously.
Yeah, they murdered him in the hospital with pharmaceuticals.
That's right.
Yeah, it's sad. It used to be a safe place to go. Hospitals, they're just not safe anymore. I mean, elective surgeries and even if you need help with something simple, it just seems like it's and now all the people that passed in my life, like my grandparents, now I'm starting to be a little skeptical. And my dad, I'm skeptical on how they treated my relatives. You know what I mean?
do you mean during
I'm
the
not.
whole beer bug
I'm,
time?
No, this was years ago, but still, I mean, my grandmother went in the hospital, never made it out. My grandfather went in the same hospital, never made it out. My dad went into the same hospital, never made it out. I mean, at the time, I didn't think nothing of it. I just thought, that's the normal thing. But now I'm looking back on it like maybe that agenda was in effect back then, too. You know what I mean?
I think
yeah, and
so.
Sad.
when I say that they pharmaceutically killed him, I'm not talking like out of ignorance either and making an assumption. Like I've actually seen the paperwork, like of all the medicines and stuff they were given in the hospital.
Protocol.
He was induced, wasn't he?
What do you mean? What do you mean by
Like
induced?
he was like they came in and then they put him on a ventilator.
Not instantly, no.
Well,
He
okay.
was in there for
So he
a few days before that happened.
Okay, totally. Okay, so the reason why I asked though is because when they put you in a ventilator, they put you under, right? So that's
Sedate you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's an quote unquote induced coma. So
Yeah.
like pretty much at any point that they put you in an induced coma, they can pretty much do whatever they want with you. So like you're saying, you see the paperwork. I don't. Obviously, they murdered him. Like all the stuff doesn't add up. You don't go from where he was at to death that quickly, unless there is some third party adding in.
What else was funny? I think every speaker at that conference got sick with something.
Yeah, Sean got sick too.
And Daryl Lee, not this Daryl Lee, didn't he like couldn't sleep for a whole bunch of time after?
Yeah, like 3 weeks.
Yeah, there was that. Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah,
So
like
I just wonder if and this is nothing against Chris Take on the World or anything, but I wonder if they like had people come in there, you know what I mean? Cuz like I just think about what we've heard like during, you know, the death is after, I think it was like shortly after the death of Stanley Kubrick or before, where they came out and talked about like the ice darts that they have that could give people heart attacks. You know what I mean? So what if they could also do that with, you know, put some type of element in your body that would, you know, like quickly make you really sick and die? You know, like I don't know. I just my mind goes there because I wouldn't put past anything past the evil one.
Well, I don't either, but I do know that from the time Edward and I got there to the time we left, there was a Cessna airplane flying over the place the whole time, except at night. I don't recall seeing it at night, but during the day, it was just doing circles right around this place we were at, which was a beautiful place too. It was awesome.
Hey, was there anything coming out of the tail? Were they spraying anything?
No, they was just a couple 100 feet in the air. They was just, you could just about throw a rock and hit the plane, but they was just, I don't know if it was just somebody learning how to fly or what was going on, but it was just right there. Every time I walked out of a building, I would see this airplane. I just thought it was a little odd, sort of the whole time. I don't think I even made mention of it, but I thought it was a little out of the way or something.
Hey, do we really only have 6 people watching us? How many people are on Take on the World, Anthony?
We got 7 currently. You know, this kind of happens when we take those breaks where we don't stream, because we're such a big channel. It's less likely to get described. But I actually that's a good segue. We're really thinking. I don't know. I hope this will work for everyone, but we're thinking about actually moving these to Friday night. The reason why is because there's not really much going on Friday. There's, even on Take on the World, Ian used to have his like before ours, and now it's like it starts at our time or after our time. So unfortunately, we kind of miss some people that want to watch Ian too, and like my wife included. My wife loved when he did it on Fridays, but I think we need to talk to this Chris Bailey at Tick of the World, but I think a switch to doing it on Friday nights, kind of would get us get more where we can get more viewers, so we can share more puzzle pieces and we can grow faster. So I hope we can talk about that definitely in the after show, but I kind of wanted to bring that up to see what people's thoughts about with it. Again, we can kind of get into that later, but so
Also, you
Moving
should
to
apologize that you didn't have a show last week, because people that normally would get on there, they look and they're waiting for it,
Yeah,
and there's no show. Like,
I do
you could have made it
apologize.
short, man.
I know I should have made it short or something. I had my son, my oldest son. He was graduating from preschool, so it was like an hour and a half thing, and basically I got home and I hadn't even put up an episode. I didn't have time. I was like 90% on the outro, which kind of, for those that are here, you stick around at the end, it's gonna look a little bit different than you've seen. I put quite a bit of time into this outro, so I hope y'all stick around to watch that. It's gonna be pretty awesome. And those that watch it later, tell me what you think. I hope y'all enjoy it. But anyways, we'll get into that again more later. But I wanna kind of bring some more stuff up about Joshua. Don't y'all think it's extremely interesting that we obviously see it throughout Scripture, but how 7 comes up here? They do it 6 days, and then on the 7th they do it 7 times, and then they blow the 7 trumpets, and then this thing happens, which is really. I think there's a lot there when it comes to it using these numbers. Now, these numbers, I don't think it's arbitrarily using these numbers. I think it's using these numbers for a very specific reason. I won't claim to know what that very specific reason is, but my speculation is obviously it's that father's number, the 7 times. But I think it's interesting to think about the concept for this physically to happen, for like Frankie was bringing up, what Anthony was bringing up with the frequencies, that it wasn't just them blowing the trumpets, but these trumpets were being passed by the Ark of the Covenant, and the people are passing by the Ark of the Covenant. So as they're making their rounds, they're doing something. I agree that it's frequencies, and maybe spirit we would kind of view as this frequency, but
Hey,
there was obviously something being transferred from the there was something being transferred from the Ark of the Covenant to the people for that thing to happen. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Frankie.
could you imagine if, as they passed the Ark of the Covenant, it started to glow and it lit up with power? Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, it doesn't describe that, but maybe it wasn't even physical, like a physical glow around them, but maybe they felt something that they couldn't explain. You know what I mean? So that gave them the heart to be silent and do as they were commanded.
I'm actually glad you brought up the trumpet part. You reckon that has any correlation with the trumpets in Revelation?
Well, I would say yes, because at least in the fact that it's 7s, right? Like, he uses these 7s for a very specific reason. The first reason we see this is a completion, right? Like, we understand, a week as a week of completion because you have 6 days of work, and the 7th you rest. So 7 is used over and over in that completion. We see that through the seals, the trumpets, and the bowls, just the same as this is a symbol of completion. When they complete it, there is the blast of the trumpet and a shout, which we literally see, happening in at least some of the trumpets, and especially the ones that are kind of seem more violent or wartime things. So yeah, there's definitely correlation. Like, whether you take this and help you try to figure out with what Revelations is saying. I'm not 100%, but I think that's an interesting idea at the very least.
Hey, maybe when they kept passing the Ark of the Covenant, they were getting power, and that's why they were told to be quiet until they were fully charged with the power of Yah to give a shout of victory and blast the trumpet.
But it's even deeper in that. Like, I completely agree, but they're also taking that power and spreading it out in this circle around, encompassing the Jericho.
You're breaking up, Vader.
Oh, I think it's you.
Check. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, no, you're totally good. I think it's Daryl. When you're back, Daryl, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Oh, yeah, you were breaking up. I couldn't hear what you said.
Oh, you're perfect now. You sound so good now.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't hear what you were saying. You started. It was deeper than that, and then I didn't hear what you said.
Well, I'll just kind of re-say it. I was saying it's deeper than that because they were spreading it, right? So they were walking out on a circle as they were passing the ark, and they were going around in circle and circle and circle. So they're taking the ark, and not only in themselves, but they're spreading it around in this circle.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense why they would be quiet until it was fully charged to make the shout and the blast of the trumpets. There's something in that, bro.
Totally.
That would make sense too on the frequency thing too, because if they were making any other kinds of noise, it would disrupt the frequency. It wouldn't be the pure sound that they were commanded to make.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It was like a spiritual bomb. It's so cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Well, if y'all say that it has a correlation with the trumpets in Revelation, we would also see which happened like on each day that the Israelites were marching around Jericho. If we read it in Revelation. And North Star was pointing out something a couple of weeks ago that was really interesting, how we could do that.
How we could do what?
How we could look and see which trumpet did what. And I'm sort of seeing a correlation between Revelation 8 and 16 with Joshua 6 about the trumpets and how they marched around it, and then the voice, the loud voice. It says in chapter 16:1, it says, "Then I heard a loud voice from the temple saying to the seven angels, go and pour out the bowls of the wrath of God on the earth." So the first went and poured out his bowl upon the earth, and a foul and loathsome sore came upon the men who had the mark of the beast and those who worship his image. But the way that Chris and North Star were pointing out is like that happens like right after the trumpet is sounded.
What, walls fall down?
No.
I guess they're kind of the first.
Well, each day, the first day, that would be the first trumpet. It would correlate with the first trumpet in Revelation 8, right?
Well, they only blow the trumpets on the seventh day at the very end. So they, that's like there's the blow and then the shout and then the walls come down. Each day they're not blowing the trumpets.
Why was I thinking they was blowing the trumpet each day then?
Let me make sure, because
No, they were to walk around silent for the first 6 days. If I'm not mistaken, it says they were supposed to be completely silent.
Okay, maybe I was misunderstanding that then.
Yeah, it was. They had to be quiet until the seventh day, the seventh encompass, for Joshua to yell, shout, and then they blew the trumpet and shout. So, yeah, it wasn't. They weren't blowing the trumpets each day, but I think it's interesting that they're going. They're it also says that that the priests that had the trumpets, that they reward came after the ark, so they were around the ark, which means they were like getting. I almost wonder if it was like so think about it like this, like an engine, right? Like an engine, like at least you have this copper wire, and then you put a charge to it, and it causes it to spin, right? So they took this, frequency, this electrical charge, whatever you want to name it, and they put it in around a circle around the whole place. And then when they blew the trumpets, that was like adding the positive charge, and then they shouted, and that added the negative charge, and then that entire force that they had created from getting the energy from them getting the energy from the ark and spreading it in the circle, and then the priests with the trumpets, they're also getting the energy from the people marching to them. So it's like this huge, I use this word a lot and it never does justice, but they created this huge device, like this huge frequency spirit bomb. It literally blows my mind.
Kind of like a tornado field thing or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like they were manipulating the ether in some way to cause this local phenomenon.
Yeah, a torrent. Is that what you said, Daryl? A torrent?
Toric.
They created a torrent. A torrent.
Tornado. I might not be pronouncing it right.
It's like a tornado on top of itself. Like if you took a tornado and copied it and flipped it around and put the two tips together.
What's a torrent?
Torrent is like it talking about the ocean. It's a type of a wave, I believe, like a series of waves.
Could have caused a frequency torrent. Am I saying it right? Torrent.
I'm not sure what you're trying to say.
I think a torrent is a wave of power, right? I'll have to look that up. Let me ask Google what it is.
Yeah, I can see how them going around in circles every day, being quiet, and then just making that even like a magnetical energy encircling.
Yeah, it's.
Did I lose sound?
No, you're totally good. It's totally.
Oh.
Yeah, it's totally. That's exactly how I imagine it. Like, they somehow, with the Ark of the Covenant and them being quiet and them marching around, in the presence of not only the priests but the Ark and the trumpets, right? Because the trumpets were there even when they weren't blowing the sound, right? So they were a part of this device to create this effect. Dude, it's just, there's so many layers to it. It's so cool. It's like literally it's like a device. I don't know how else to explain it. It's like this created thing that Like, and it was very specific on how, like, what they do and how they stand and how they walk and being quiet, right? It was very specific rules given to them.
An electrical torrent is a energy source.
So I guess that would be like the
Okay.
arc, and they were
Yeah.
like kind of the wire.
Yeah, so as they were walking around the walls, they were creating an electrical torrent that was activated by the trumpet and the shout, which brought the walls down. That's crazy.
Oh, I kind of get what you're saying, like almost like a whirlpool. Like if you get in a pool and you all run around in one direction, you'll create it where it's just like it's pushing against you. So they almost did that, like swirled that energy around, and then when they trumpets sounded and they shouted, it boom set that device. It's so crazy.
Released it.
Yeah,
That's powerful, man.
Yeah, and what's interesting is it pulled the walls out because the walls fell outward and not inward.
They would have fell outward. It would have fell on them, wouldn't it?
No, my understanding, the walls fell outward. They didn't fall inward.
Well, they basically crumbled, right? Like they fell. Let's pull that up. So people shouted, "Beast trumpet." And it came to pass when when the people, this is of Jericho, heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout. Oh no, sorry, this is the people waiting to shout a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, and every man straight before him, and they took the city. So they all were literally pointed directly straight, all the men. So when the walls went flat, they literally took that circle of power and they condensed it all the way down until it completely wiped out every living creature. Right, obviously by the edge of the sword, but they were given proudness in it, right? Because this is their like first real, real, they've seen it before, right? Like even passing of the Jordan and the water bulging up, so that like as like with the Ark of the Covenant, but I think this is like, just guys, like how intense would this be? Like, don't you think like even the most devout person there that is like super excited and pumped to see like that what God y'all says is gonna happen, but don't you think they have like a little doubt? And like, dude, how is walking around this thing next to this box and then blowing these trumpets and shouting is gonna do anything to this heavily fortified city? And like,
Yeah, well,
how,
like you said, they could feel the power, so they were gaining momentum as they were walking around it. They could feel the energy. They could feel the victory.
no, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I feel like there would still be like a little doubt, just a kernel maybe, of being like, is really doing all this gonna do anything to the walls? You get what I'm saying? Like logically.
Yeah, I mean, if you consider the walls, I mean, you could like drive chariots on the walls. They were that big. We're talking huge walls.
Imagine being inside the walls and then seeing them crumble down with a shout and a trumpet. Yeah, they must have been. The enemy must have been scared to see that. I mean, my God, that would be. What kind of power do these people have? They must have been saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Right quick before we move on from the the wall, before what y'all were discussing, I wanted to read in the Septuagint, verse 20. It says, "And the priest sounded the trumpets. As soon as the people heard the trumpets, all the people together shouted loudly, making a great and powerful loud noise. And the entire wall fell all around, and all the people went up into the city." So the Septuagint says they
all
fell
around instead of flat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess that's kind of it, because if walls fell flat, like just in my idea, right? Because it can't just, like, if it falls flat, you could almost say, well, then it's not moving. But I almost think about it, obviously it would kind of be like an outward thing. It would almost make them a mountain that they can climb up, right? Like it would fall down in a way that they could all march around it in this circle and encompass the whole thing. At least that's how I viewed it, or view it. But I was literally about to change the subject before you said that, so I'm glad that you said that. Unless there's anything else, I had another thing that I wanted to bring up. Let me pull this up, and then I will share it with y'all. Give me 1 second. And where'd that go? Yeah, if someone has a point while I try to find this, I don't mind. Y'all chime in.
Yeah, wasn't there like a verse somewhere that said that you could drive a chariot on top of the walls?
Did we lose Vader Bear?
I thought
maybe.
no. I was gonna say I thought that was Babylon. Was that Jericho?
I was thinking it was Jericho. I could be wrong on that one.
Yeah, I thought it was Babylon that, or like where the Tower of Babel was. That was like that. I didn't realize that was Jericho. I'm not
pretty
sure.
I'm pretty sure it was Jericho because I mean that was like this huge city that like that's why it's so famous that the walls of Jericho came down. Because they were like huge walls.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. That's definitely. I remember hearing that, but I don't remember which walls that was talking about. But I did find what I was. I did find what I was going to talk about, and I want to spend some time with this, because I think it's pretty important. So, here in I just had it and I lost it. Okay, it says, and the city shall be accursed, even it and all that are therein, to the Lord. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are within her house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. And ye in any wise keep yourselves from the accursed things, lest you make yourselves accursed when you take of the accursed thing, and make the camp of Israel accursed and trouble it. But all the silver and gold and vessels of brass and iron and consecrated unto the Lord, they shall come into the treasure of the Lord. So this is going to kind of come up again. This time they didn't take anything. Everything was killed, and they only took the silver, gold, the vessels of brass and iron, and they were consecrated into the Lord. That they shall come into the treasury of the Lord. So I want to point this out because this accursed thing, I think this has a very much so tied to the evil spirits, and their attraction to physical objects as well as people, and how taking any of these things other than what was allowed or what was commanded, how it would not only accurse them, but it would also curse the camp of Israel and bring it trouble. So I think that, and we will see again when we get into it more later down the road, of kind of consequences when this is broken. But I just think it's very interesting, and me personally, I don't know if y'all have ever kind of thought or tied the unclean spirits to this kind of transaction of don't take these things. Any thoughts?
Well, like I'm not sure that word. I mean, we'd have to look up that word accursed and study it, because that could be like a word like set apart too. You know, like if you touch the ark, you know, you're unclean and you're touching this clean thing, and you know there's penalties for that. You know, so we'd have to do a word on that. I mean,
Yeah, I'm actually bringing that up right now. That's 18. This is in the Strong's Concordance. 18. And then I can bring it up in the Hebrew. Why does it do that sometimes? I don't get it. So Joshua, and then 16. That was 18.
While you're looking that up, one more verse I noticed in the Septuagint that was pretty interesting about the shouting. I hate to kind of go backwards, but
Oh, it's okay.
But chapter 6, verse 10 in the Septuagint says, Joshua commanded the people, saying, do not cry out or let anyone hear your voice until the moment he himself tells you to shout, and then you will shout.
I think that's conveying the same thing.
It is. I was just saying, I think it's a little more clearly how it says until the moment he himself tells you to shout. But it's not capitalized here. So is that talking about Yeshua?
It's a good point. Yeah, there was something supernatural happening there. I never looked at this chapter like this before. This is so there's so much gravy in this.
Oh yeah, totally.
This is really exciting, good content that we're going over. I mean, this is like a supernatural event that was led by the Spirit of Yah.
Yeah, it's pretty epic. And so I looked up that word. Oh, I'm getting some background noise from someone. Perfect, thank you. So I looked up that word in the Strong's Concordance. It's Rahim. I'm gonna pull it up. It's Strong's 2764. Kairim. It says devoted thing, devotion, or ban. Thing hostile to theocracy and therefore in strict application to be destroyed, or in case of certain objects be set apart to sacred uses. So it's using it as a devoted thing. So this to me is talking about idols, right? And he says don't take any of that stuff, but if it's silver and gold and vessels of brass and iron, so it's like if it's these building materials that in my belief will one day be used, will not only prosper the country now, but will one day be used to build the first temple and the instruments therein. Like these things we're gonna use. We're gonna take this dirty gold and clean it and refine it 7 times, and then we're gonna put it up for the Father instead of for these evil people. So I think there's kind of an interesting thing there, right? Because it's saying if you take these things, it's not okay, but if they're silver and gold, right? You can take them, but you don't get to keep them. Those are going specifically to the treasury of the Lord, meaning they're not anyone's property. No one's going to be using them to pray to. They're going in the coffers that they're going to use later on. It's so cool.
Yeah, so they're going to the priesthood to melt it down for temple utensils.
Mm-hmm.
And there was probably instruments of Baal that they weren't allowed to touch.
Yeah. I think it's pretty interesting that you brought up that word search. I'd like to do more looking into this word, this karum, and or charum, and seeing where else it's used. But yeah, for those that want to do that along with me, it's 2764. But anyways, yeah, great addition there.
Well, I looked up verse 10 in 3 other translations, and the Septuagint is the only one that says until the moment he himself tells you to shout. Everything else is saying until the moment I. Let's see.
Well, previously before that, or
was talking to that he tells the people. He commands the people saying, but why would the Septuagint say until the moment he himself tells you to shout, and everything else it just says until the day I bid you shout?
To me that's the same. I don't really see any difference there. Like it's just different language.
So you're saying
Same also.
is calling himself and a he himself? He's referring to the Septuagint doesn't seem to say that Joshua was referring to him giving the commandment. It's like it's referring to an angel or Yeshua giving the commandment to shout.
Well, I don't know. At least the way that this is says, and Joshua commanded the people, saying, "Ye shall not shout nor make any noise with your voice, neither shall any word proceed out of your mouth until the day I bid you shout. Then shall ye shout." So he's saying, until I tell you to shout, none of y'all are gonna make a sound until I tell you to. That's how I take it.
Well, that's how everything else says too, until Joshua gives the command. But except for the Septuagint, it makes it sound like as though something else is giving the command to shout other than Joshua.
I'm with you, Anthony, on that. I think Yeshua is
Yeah,
the one that
both
deserves to shout.
both the stories are pretty much the same. One's just saying till I tell you to shout, right? The other one's saying till he tells you to shout. But Joshua is hearing from the Father of when to speak, right? And so either way, it could still work, because if I'm on the phone with somebody and you can't hear, I can say, wait till I tell you to shout. Or I can say, hey, he's going to tell me when to tell y'all to shout. Oh, he said shout. Either way, it's the same thing.
Yeah, I agree. And I obviously he's having a connection with the Father, right? And like Chris is saying, he is waiting for the Father to tell him to say shout, and then he says shout, and then all the people shout.
Okay, I can take that away. I can see it that way.
Either way.
But you end up in the same way, so we're kind of speculating about details that may not matter, but maybe they do. But anyways, sweet. Well, what were you gonna say, Chris?
Can you hear me talking?
I can hear you now.
Oh, okay, because maybe I cut out. I was like, what? He just talked right over me. I was asking. So you got 7.
You're breaking up on me, brother. I cannot. I can't. I'm hearing bits and pieces of what you're saying, unfortunately. Is it me, guys, or are y'all hearing him the same?
Right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I switched to the phone. So you got 7 of them marching on the offensive.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still going in
Am I breaking
and
up? Really?
out,
You can't hear me?
unfortunately. Yeah, like you sound good at one point, and then you start talking, and then it starts breaking up like straight away. So we hear like, do I sound good? Okay, and then it immediately starts breaking up. So maybe it's just your spot, but I totally want to hear what you have to say. If you can maybe get in a better, he jumped out. He's probably gonna get a better and come through. So, anyways. Well, we're kind of, I want him to come back and kind of finish it up, but while we're kind of waiting on him, we're almost, we're now exactly 10 minutes until we'll end the show for the night. But does anyone have anything else about Joshua 6 they wanted to bring up?
No, but I wanted to speak for a moment if I could.
Oh, what about, brother?
Well, I put out the call and the information about the debate in the server, and so that still stands. I mean, we're still looking for someone who's willing to debate the eschatological question as far as preterism versus futurism. And it seems like North Star hasn't answered that in any sort of meaningful way. I know he's here tonight, so I don't know if there's an issue he needs to work out, or just if he doesn't want to do it, that's fine.
Yeah, and
we can move on to put the call out to whoever's into it.
Totally, yeah. I actually reached out to some people to see if they would be interested in it. So we're definitely working on that. I think it'd be really fun to have a debate because, a lot of the times, even though we disagree with each other here at the round table, we don't ever really give a formal debate where people can really have the time to say their piece without interruption, like a formal debate. So I think that would be super, super fun to be able to do. So, and again, me and Anthony are both looking for that. We also have some other stuff coming up. We're trying to get some special guest episodes coming up for you here in the very near. One second, Nick. Here in the very near future, we're going to be doing another stream on some enclosed cosmology topics. But I just wanted to use that in a segue to kind of let some people on and some information about what we got coming up here soon, since we're getting to wrap up. But what were you going to say?
Can I say something?
Oh, yeah, go ahead,
Can
Chris.
I say something before we move forward? I got on a different phone. Maybe I'm not breaking up
You're
now.
perfect now.
Okay, sorry about that earlier. So my question is, they were on the offensive for 7 days. Which day was Sabbath?
That's very. Are you saying basically was it the first day or the? I would guess that the Sabbath was the day that they did that 7 times. It wasn't their vocation. But that is an interesting topic because later on, right, we see them, and we'll talk about this with Joshua's prayer about the sun and the moon, and that kind of stopped the day so that they could have vengeance and still keep the Sabbath. So I don't know, maybe it happened the 6th day, and then like the 6th day was the 7th day, and then so the first day would be the day that they attacked, if that makes sense. I don't know. Do you have a thought about that?
So sorry, Anthony, you have a Septuagint version, right?
I do.
So go back to the first day, and does it not say that it was the first day of the month, or it was New Moon Day? Or no, the Septuagint doesn't use New Moon Day. Doesn't it say the first day was the first day of the month, the first day that they started marching?
You don't happen to know? I haven't seen that. Do you happen to know what chapter? I mean, verse.
No, I don't, because I don't have a Septuagint. I just know that in the canon it doesn't say that, but I've been told that in the Septuagint it does. Because I'm in a minority of belief. Like, I normally don't talk about it like in public and whatnot, but I think that New Moon Day is separate and unto itself, and then after New Moon Day starts your weekly count. And so New Moon Day is a like a type of convocation day. It's not a Sabbath.
It's
a
not
day
a-
unto itself.
Oh, gotcha. And it
You
wouldn't
got,
like it's almost like a 0 day where it's not counted as a day.
no, it's counted as a day. It's New Moon Day. It's the first day of the month, but it's not part of your week. So after New Moon Day, then you start your first week of the month. So it would be date wise month. It would be day 2, but your weekly count it would be day 1. So your second day of the month is day 1 of your weekly count.
So is the new moon day considered the first day of the month of like the week of the first week of the
You're
new
hot
month?
mic. You're over micing, man. You're
Oh,
too close
sorry.
to your mic or something.
My
Start
apologies.
over, please, sir.
I said is the I kind of lost my train of thought. Is the day is the new moon day considered the first day of the new month, or is it considered
Yes,
like
sir.
a transition day where it's not like calculated into that first week?
Both. It's the first day of the month, just like us, okay? Just like on the Gregorian calendar, right? We're on the 7th day of the week on the Gregorian calendar, but the date today is the 28th. So it would be your first day of your week would be on your second day of the month. So that's anyway, yeah.
I totally
think
get
that there
you.
wasn't a Sabbath.
I get what you're saying. As in the month it's counted, but in the week it's not counted. So in the week it's actually the second day, but in the month it's still the first day.
It would be the third day.
In the week it's the first day, but in the month it's the second day because it's counted in the week but not the month.
Correct.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. That makes sense.
Chris,
Did you find that verse, Anthony?
I think so. I think it's
Go-
verse 12 and 12 through 15. It says it, and on the second day, Joshua rose up in the morning, and the priests carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord. And the 7 priests carried the 7 trumpets, passed on before the Lord, and the warriors went after them. And the other crowds were behind the ark of the covenant of the Lord. And the priests sounded their trumpets, and the other crowds all circled the city closely. And they went
It'd
back.
be before that.
It's before that?
Yeah, it's before that. It tells you what day, when
Yeah.
they arrived or something of the like. North wanted to say something.
Verse 15 will tell you that it came to pass on the 7th day, early in the morning, about the dawning of the day, they compassed the city. And that would have been the 7th time. One other thing that was very interesting when you guys spoke about, the blowing of the trumpets, the priests blew the trumpets every day. It was only on the 7th day that they were commanded to shout. And then when you come to, I believe it's 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, when it talks about the trump of God and the Lord shall descend to shout, I just thought I'd like to point that out.
Yes, and I'm saying that it's the 7th day of the month. I'm pretty sure if he goes back a little bit, it tells you when they arrive. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure. If not, we can just continue. I'll see if I can find it later. I'll DM it to y'all if I find it.
And North Star was right. He almost quoted verse 15. But man, I appreciate that about the trumpets because I thought I was going crazy.
Sweet. All right. Well, we got just a couple minutes left, so I'm gonna go over the comments real quick. I'm gonna pull those up for you, so just bear with me for a moment, and we'll show those off, and then we will go from there. So pull that up, and looks like this is. Oh, it's that. Nope. Okay, I guess there's just none. Yeah. So okay, that's why it's just so confusing. So normally we read the comments from the previous one. It doesn't look like we had any show up on the enclosed cosmology one. We do have a few from Take on the World, so we'll go ahead and read those off anyways. I definitely appreciate all the comments that we get and those that take the time to do that. It really does help the channel grow. And you know, we're already grabbled enough from YouTube, so that type of support means a lot to us. So anyways, I'm gonna pull at least the ones from Take on the World, and we'll go from there. So we got Christy Speckelmeyer and Joe Dare. They both said that Kathleen Wynn sent them. So and then I got, this is Kathy Wynn, so I think it's the same one. So you know, thanks Kathy or Kathleen Wynn, bringing people over and sharing our puzzle pieces. It really does mean them out. We see that you said, though, I'm trying to catch up on the videos. I forgot to comment. I'm sorry. Shalom, everyone. I will say this, though. I can't watch anything from our corrupt government anymore because it's all lies. Only listen to our family in Christ on YouTube. I keep focused on him that way, but I know we must be preparing for what's in. I'm thinking this is maybe the size, so let me try to resize this to see if it, there we go. Hold on. Where'd it go? I want to get the whole thing. Sorry guys, bear with me. And it says prepare. See, it made it even weirder. Does it need to be bigger or smaller? Sorry guys, bear with me. This is scrolling up, scrolling down, scrolling up, scrolling down. It that way, but I know we must be preparing for what's coming. Totally, and I agree with you. I do, you know, I think a little bit watch, you know, I watch a little bit of Hollywood every time, like we, you know, watch Sonic and stuff like that, and I think we're in the world, not of it. I think you can find a beautiful message in that stuff, but of course you should definitely watch your intake of the world, because I think it's very easily seductive and corruptive, just like our corrupted government. So I appreciate your comment. I appreciate you bringing people here. But yeah, that's all the comments that we have to read. Just one more quick shout out to the GoFundMe. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this link and share it in there. If anyone would is willing or wanting to help another brother out, Anthony could really use some help. So check out that GoFundMe. There's some information in there if you're more interested on kind of what he's going through. But other than that, that will wrap it up. Now, again, the end of this is going to work a little different. This is like the first iteration of the outro. I may need to change some things or add some things or take some ways. I'm not 100%, you know, this is my 100% first go, so I hope y'all enjoy it. But I'm saying the reason why is not going to be, excuse me, it's not going to be like a lyrical video before where it's just the words. This is pretty cool. So I hope you enjoy that. And then one of the ways it's going to be different is excuse me, one second, people.
Bless you.
Bless you. Hey, I'll be right back before we say our goodbyes.
Brother. Did we just lose Vader Bear altogether?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
No, I just with the change, like our weather has gone from hot to cold to hot to cold, and when it does that, I always get sinus infections. So I literally have like a constant drip of mucus down my throat, and I'm sure that's PDA from everyone. But anyway, so let's just start saying our goodbyes. I'm hoping he'll be back for that. But we'll start with you, Anthony.
Well, I just appreciate everybody coming out and hanging out with us and fellowshipping with us. And I'm really digging this study. It's a lot to it, but it's a really fun book to read. I just want to appreciate. I just tell everybody I appreciate you for coming out and hanging out with us. Much love, many blessings. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, brother. And we'll do Daryl Lee next. If Frankie B doesn't come back, we'll come back to him. But I'll go over to Daryl Lee, brother. I hope you enjoyed being here with us, and I enjoyed your presence, and I hope you have a great night, brother, if you'd like to say goodbye to the people.
Oh, sure, and thank you so much, Vader. Yeah, you're right. That's an interesting study. There's a lot to that, and yeah, I enjoyed that. Hey, and thank you, and everybody else. Shabbat shalom, or shalom, if it's past that time for you, and have a good one.
Indeed. And are you back with us, Frankie, or are you still AFK? Okay, sweet. So we'll skip him from now. We'll go over to Chris. If you'd like to say your goodbye, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me. As always, peace and blessings to all.
Yeah, always great to have you as well. And then Nick.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here. Real quick, I want to read some scripture that was kind of controversial in the chat tonight. Real quick, 2 Corinthians chapter 3, starting at verse 12. It says, "Therefore, since we have such a hope, we are very bold. We are not like Moses, who will put a veil over his face to keep the Israelites from gazing at the end of what was fading away. But their minds were closed. For to this day, the same veil remains at the reading of the old covenant. It has not been lifted because only in Christ can it be removed. And even to this day, when Moses is read, a veil covers their hearts. But whenever anyone turns to the Lord, the veil is taken away." So yeah, I just want to just bless everyone and just send out the good positive vibes, and just yeah, let's rock out to this song, Dig Deep. And I'm excited that you and Anthony are finding a heavyweight for me to discuss this topic with, and just praise you both for being very bold and inviting a kind of controversial subject. So that's it. Blessings, shalom, everyone.
Yeah, Nick, and we're praying that veil be lifted from you, brother.
Okay, well,
Hey, we'll see what happens when we have the discussion. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But you can do it, Chris. You want to do it, Chris? You ready for that?
All right.
Anybody
Well,
that
we're
does-
saying our goodbyes, so let's not make this too long of an outro. But Frankie B, go back, so we'll go to him, and then North Star next. So Frankie B's, if you'd like to say your goodbye, sir.
Everybody does want to take the challenge on. Give us a week to promote it so we can draw. The whole idea of the debate is to draw people to the channel so we can get to the 500 subscribers, so we can have some good content for people to get engaged with. So if anyone is going to take on the debate, give us at least a week to promote it, so we can promote it on all Discord platforms, so we can draw some people to our channel. That's what the whole idea of this is.
Yeah, but don't get it twisted either. Like, I'm ready to go. Like, if it's just like, hey, do you want to do it tonight? I'm ready. I don't need any really preparation time. It's all
Well,
ready
we
to
do
go.
want to grow the channel. That's the whole thing of it.
No, absolutely. I just didn't want it to sound a certain way either.
And it's good content. So, are we doing the song, Vader?
Well, North Star has to say his goodbyes. I have to say goodbyes. We're gonna just typically go in order. The only reason why we went out of order is because you were gone.
Okay.
So you'll just say your goodbyes, and then North Star will go, and then I'll go, and then I'll play the intro, outro.
Shalom, shalom, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the show. There was a lot of good gravy in this episode. So anyone that is in here, share it. And it was a really good topic tonight. And I just want to give thanks and all praise to the Father. And just be blessed and have a great week.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, brother. And we'll jump to North Star. You didn't say much, brother, but that's okay. We always enjoy your presence. If you'd like to say your goodbyes, if not, if that's okay too, but if you'd like to, go ahead.
Yeah, I enjoyed listening and just putting in my 2 cents there at the very end. I wish the study was a bit longer, but you know, I
Yeah.
appreciate everyone.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say, yeah, that people don't like watching more than 2 hours typically, but go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone, putting in and hearing everyone's opinion. Shalom, everyone.
Yeah, shalom indeed. Appreciate you, brother. Awesome. Okay. Well, guys, I appreciate you as well. Remember to vote. Remember to leave a comment in one of the videos. You got to do that at least once to be entered into the drawing for the shofar. It seems like. So make sure you do that as well. Obviously, leaving more comments isn't going to get you more entries, but it definitely helps out the channels. So please do that. If you feel so blessed, hop over to that GoFundMe that I showed so that we can help Anthony get some legal help. But other than that, I appreciate you all, dear brothers and sisters. I hope y'all have a wonderful week coming up. And that the Father keep and be with you, and remember, that He loved you first. So until next time, I hope y'all have a wonderful night. Shalom, everybody.
It's your glory, conceal the mystery. You give us the honor to search a matter. You raise up a standard to beat back our enemy. You establish this realm, and like a scroll you spread it out. Dig deep, search it out. Dig deep, seek it out. Dig deep, go on and walk it out. Dig deep. I give you oil to fill up your cup.